Hey guys, we're here today using the team that just won through Charlotte Regionals, actually. If you guys enjoy this, of course, like and subscribe for more, and answer the comment question of the day. Oh, fuck, I think I've asked for weather already. Okay, you know what? New question of the day. What is your favorite team? You know what, yeah, what is your favorite team that's actually won a regional this far? This one probably is the coolest to me because I've always thought that Lilligant had a really good place in the meta, but I've been kind of struggling to make it work personally. But it is really cool to see that Lilligant obviously did just win a regional, to be honest. No team builder yet again because I didn't build the team, to be honest. I don't even have the paste. I just got the rental code. Well, actually, I should be able to find the paste. I should be able to recreate it. But the point is I didn't build the team. I don't really know a lot about how to explain what the logic was in this team, but I did still want to try it nonetheless. We're taking on Iron Hands, the Dunsparce, Arcanine, Mousehold, Annihilate, and Scream Tail. Okay, so looking at this, I think that my leader is definitely going to be, Torkoal, Lilligant. That should help a lot with the Mouse Ape, for example, and it's also going to be pretty decent just around their team in general. I'm going to bring Flutterman in the back for certain. And then, actually, I think I'm going to bring these two on lead, and I'm going to bring Lilligant in the back. And then I think for the final one I'm going to bring is Tusk. Tusk could be a decent option as a Scarf for late game. This is a Scarf Tusk, by the way, obviously, as you see on screen. It's Terra Steel, which is pretty cool. It's a really interesting aspect, actually, of the team that I'm sure a lot of people who even might have seen the team, like, on a first glance might not really think of. But it is a pretty cool option on this build, in my opinion. It's probably one of the most interesting things, is the fact that there's a Scarfed Great Tusk, which I'm not really sure what the logic would be in it, but I can pick up on what it would do, obviously. It's just meant to outpace other Pokemon. It's great at outpacing stuff like Flutterman, obviously, which is really fucking cool. It's just a really good breaker overall. So it's a really important aspect of the Sun. We're going to be special attack boosting, obviously, but that should be fine. Our opponent is leading off with the Dunsparce as well as the Mousehold. We can probably just go for we're just going to go for an Eruption turn 1, and then we're just going to go for a Gleam turn 1. The tandem of these should be really threatening to my opponent. I could also just go for Mousehold, actually, and just directly target it with Moonblast, which actually, that might be the play, going for the Tera Fire Moonblast, because that way then I can get rid of the Friend Guard support that Dunsparce would have, and especially if it's going to go for some sort of population bomb on my Torkoal and weaken its health a lot. I don't really want to let that happen. This was open sheet. I probably would have almost never made that play because I'm going to assume this isn't a pop bomb, but I can't really guarantee that it doesn't either. And I would rather truthfully just take this out in general if it is pop bomb, because that would actually be kind of threatening to my team in general. So we're going to Tera Fairy here. I'm assuming that we can still just massacre this anyway. I'm going to guess that if anything, the Dunsparce is going to Terra Steel here. I'm curious into what type though, because this has a lot of options actually it could do. It's Terra Psychic. Okay, Terra Psychic is interesting. I'm not sure why my opponent ever made that against my team, though. Because I doubt they're going to go for some sort of beat-up. Oh, you know what? No, they're going for beat-up. That's 100% what they're doing, actually. They're going to go for beat-up. Well, thankfully, we just took out the mouse. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that's why they led this, but it's rattled. It's rattled the Dunsparce. And then we're going to go for Store Power. Yup, okay. So, really, really glad I made that play, actually. Didn't pick up on why that this really would have had that long-term benefit until making it, but it hit me like right as I was targeting the mouse that was the play. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think that's what this was gonna happen with, because I've seen this with Jolteon. I've even actually read this team online with Jolteon, where like Jolteon will pin missile into that spot and then activate Rattled that way. But I forgot Rattled also activates on Dark and Ghost, because really I've only seen the tech work with Jolteon here. And it runs like loaded dice just to activate max hits. And Beat Up does that essentially anyway. We took it out both Pokemon though. Really huge turn 1 for us actually. They're going to have Scream Tail and the Annihilate in the back. I'm curious if this is... Oh, you know what? Right, it doesn't even matter because we're going to activate Sun. They're going to be speed boosting. That's perfectly fine. I can honestly probably just go for an Eruption here. They can't activate Tera, which is cool. And then I can just go for Moonblast into the Annihilate spot, because that is the far more threatening option here than Scream Tail. Now, Scream Tail can go for Disable, and that's probably the scariest it gets, is going for Disable into one of my mons. But essentially, I should be able to KO the Ape either way, which is good. It's not like it's going to really be able to boost its Rage Burst damage either, which also helps us a lot. And it can't special defense boost against our team, which is helpful because I have 2 special attackers out right now. Essentially, the way this goes is either they try and fuck over my Fluttermane, and I just bring in the Lilligant and After You and KO. Or they try and stop my Torkoal from going for Eruption, and I just claim their team next turn with the Fluttermane. They're going to go for Play Rough here. perfectly acceptable. So they choose the neither route, actually. Though they, I guess, tried to take out my Flutter Mane, which works out fine. But we do take out the Annihilate this way, which is perfect. Already a really solid game 1, actually, where we're able to take out both their Pokemon with the... Oh, wow. That actually takes it. That's not even Spidef boosting either. That's speed boosting, and it took that from full. Oh my god, that's insane. Because that should have also become a solo target move. Torkoal's fucking weak. Torkoal's weak as shit. How did they not KO? Keep in mind, we are max special attack quiet on this. It's not like some weird Torkoal spread. This is like the common Torkoal spread. It just doesn't KO. That's insane. I'm curious about what spread they were. I wonder if that's Assault Vest, actually. And then I know that, like, you know, people will throw that anywhere saying, oh, I wonder if this was an Assault Vest mon whenever they don't kill something with a special attack. But I genuinely am curious because that was a speed boosting set. And I can't think of another way. I cannot fathom another way that actually took the hit. In fact, I'm actually going to go as far as to calc this because I don't believe that was supposed to take the hit. So let's see. Scream Tail versus the Torkoal. Okay, so Charcoal Eruption. This is a single target attack. Wow. Okay, so no, that doesn't even versus no special defense, max HP, that doesn't KO. And I did double check to make sure it was single target. Yeah, no, you need the Tera Fire for that. What the fuck? Okay, well, that's kind of insane. And I made sure as well Photosynthesis isn't activating. It is activating for the speed. It just takes it. 0 special defense. The more you know. Well, we talked our way into the next game. This is Iron Bundle, Flutter Mane, Sableye, Ceruledge, and then Amoonguss and Dragonite. I thought this team actually funny enough when testing the Fairy team for the members content. I don't know like when that happened, but yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like this shouldn't have been a team that I fought like multiple times, but it is interesting to say the least. Thankfully though, I do feel actually pretty confident with my matchup this time around, as Flutter Mane should stomp on this team very easily, but not only that, I also do have the Sun this time, which should be very beneficial. I'm gonna lead off with Lilligant. I think Lilligant is probably my best option. If that Sableye's fake out, if that Sableye leads in general, I'm probably just gonna Terra Ghost just to guarantee. Or actually, no, I'm gonna probably go for Dual Protect turn 1. And then, specifically if it leads off with not Ceruledge, I wonder if my play is actually lead off with, Flutter Mane. I think Flutter Mane might be the better option. I can just nuke their team really easily with that. Definitely gonna bring Lilligant in the back, though. I think Lilligant's still a really good option in the back. And then I think, yet again, I am gonna bring... Actually, no. I'm not gonna bring Lilligant in the back. I'm gonna bring Dragonite, and I'm gonna bring the Great Tusk. These should put a lot of pressure on stuff like Ceruledge as well as the bundle, especially if that's not a booster energy bundle. My Great Tusk should actually just outpace it, which is pretty good. So I feel pretty confident that I should be fine with just beating this. So good luck and fun to my opponent. And yeah, I'm anticipating Sableye bundle lead, if not maybe Sableye Ceruledge lead. But I'm curious about what they actually do go with. They're going to Sableye Ceruledge. Okay, that makes a lot of sense actually, because that gives them out Torkoal. I'm curious about the Terra type here, but I think that my play is always just to go for the Spec Shadow Ball into the Ceruledge. I kind of want a Tera Fairy. I don't know if I really need to though, to be honest. I'm curious if Ceruledge would KO. I feel like Ceruledge would KO. It's a fairly offensive mon. We're gonna go with Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball should do a lot. This will also help in case they go for like a Terra Steel or something in their set, because I think a Terra Steel or Ghost make a lot of sense here. Terra Steel would obviously be a really good way to just take on hits like Torkoal with Flash Fire while getting rid of a Fire weakness. And it gives it a Fairy resistance too. They could also go with something like a Terra Grass, which I don't know why you'd click Terra Grass here, but I mean, I guess it gets rid of your Ghost weakness, which is something. I feel like if they're going to Terrestrial here, it's going to be Steel. I think that Steel actually would have a lot of merit in this game. They're going to proceed to go for Terra Steel. Yep, okay. So I read that 2 for 2 now. We're going to still get the Shadow Ball off. This should still do a lot of damage, but I don't think we'll actually KO because of the fact they went for this. However, our special attack boosting does at least give me a little bit of hope, especially with the choice specs. This isn't exactly a very bulky Pokemon, but it's bulky enough. We wouldn't have died to that hit, thankfully, with the Shadow Sneak, which is good, actually. That's really good for us. I could just go for Earth Power into that Ceruledge spot, actually, which was nice. However, I don't know if I need to. I do actually kind of need to. Oh, special defense drop. Okay. So that benefits me a lot, actually. I'm kind of shocked that we did that much, but I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. We'll go for Flamethrower into Sableye just in case. I don't want to boost this thing's fire attacks. And we'll go for the Shadow Sneak into the Ceruledge here. We should be able to get some good damage off on Sableye. I don't know if we'll KO it, but we'll get some decent damage for sure. I'm a little worried about a Disable this turn, but at the same time, I don't think a Sarilege is threatening enough to where I want to necessarily just Earth Power it right away. Though, if they do go for Disable on Fluttermane, I will just go for it this turn. Sarilege will go for Protect, that's fine. We should be able to at least put a good amount of pressure on the Sableye here. They're going to Encore me, actually. I'm fine with being Encored. Encore actually benefits me a lot because I'm Choice Specs. Though, I will say they're probably going to go for Disable in the following turn, just to try and make me struggle stall. So I'm going to switch out anyway. Not that I really think I need to, but just to be safe here. We're going to get the burn on Sableye. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to proceed to go for an Earth Power into Sarilege here. And then I'm going to proceed to go for... Actually, do I need to? I think I'm definitely going to go for Earth Power into Sarilege, but do I need to actually go for anything besides Shadow Ball here? Because I think that ultimately my best play is just to Earth Power the Sarilege and then Shadow Ball it. In case if either I get Disabled or Encored. Because if I get Encored, obviously, I need to make sure that I'm going to KO the thing. So they're going to Disable me. Okay, so next turn I can switch out into, like, Tusk or something. And Tusk will still chew these hits fairly well. So I'm not really too concerned with that. We're going to get Bitter Bladed on our Torkoal, which is fine. Torkoal getting Bitter Bladed, truthfully, is, like, the least of my concerns here, actually. And then I think I'm going to Flamethrower into the Sableye spot in the following turn. Mostly just because the fact that I do anticipate my opponent to go for... One, I anticipate they're going to kill the Fluttermane. Or, not the Fluttermane, they're going to kill the Torkoal. And just try and also disable the Earth Power so I can't touch Sarilege. Which is fine. I don't really mind that. I'll go for Flamethrower into Sableye actually just in case this turn. And then we're going to proceed to go into Great Tusk here. Great Tusk should be able to pick off their team at this point. Their team is actually fairly weak to ground outside of Dragonite, which is really good for me. They don't really have a great switch into it, and I can also just reset Stun if I need to with Torkoal, which should be helpful for just getting my damage output up. Now I will say that the Sableye revealed Encore Disable and also the okay, perfect. They're gonna go for Disable. So they've revealed Encore Disable and also Light Screen. I'm assuming that last move is Reflect. Bitter Blade goes off. It doesn't really do a lot of damage actually, thankfully. And I can definitely KO this with Headlong Rush in the following turn. Sableye should also just die to the Flamethrower plus the Sun Boost, so I'll definitely take that, especially with the burn. Perfect. Crit didn't even matter because it just died to burn anyway. So we've taken out their support piece, which is huge. My Great Tusk should be good for anything besides Fluttermane coming in, which I will definitely take that. If Fluttermane does come in here, though, I'm going to kind of need to hope the Sun wears off, which I don't think it's going to, sadly. I'm just hoping for not Fluttermane or Bundle, but I anticipate that that's what's going to happen. Fluttermane's going to come in. Yep. Be special attack boosting. Special attack boosting. Special attack. Okay, that's good. That's really good, actually. I can proceed to just go for the Eruption here. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Eruption here. Because I'm definitely not gonna target the... I'm gonna go for Eruption and Earthquake, actually. I think that's my best play. I could just get some good damage. Actually, no. No, I'm gonna go for Protect on Torkoal. And then I'm gonna go for an Earthquake here. This should get some really strong damage off on Sarilege. I anticipate the Sarilege will die. I don't think the Fluttermane will die, however, but Sarilege definitely will. And because of the fact that my opponent is special attack boosting, I should guarantee outpace, which is huge. Thankfully, my opponent has not seen this team, but because of the fact that we're also attack boosting on this set, I think Sarilege will drop. Fluttermane is near dropping, actually. That's really good. I'm going to assume that my opponent went for like a Dazzling Gleam this turn, which is, I'm fine with that. I can just outpace them on the following turn with Lilligant, which is huge. Because again, oh, they're going to go for Moonblast. Okay, Moonblast is still fine. Okay. So the question is, will the Sun go away or not? The Sun does fade here. Okay, that's a little bit scary now. But I'm fine with that. I'm going to... Alright, we don't have Lilligant. Honestly, Dragonite could still be decent. What I'm going to do here... I'm going to swap in the Fluttermane. And I'm going to proceed to switch hard into my Dragonite in this turn while I click... I think I'm going to click just Gleam, most likely. Unless if a Moongus comes in. If a Moongus comes in, I will actually stay in. Dragonite, yep. Okay, so I'm going to definitely click Gleam. So we're going to switch hard into Dragonite, and I'm going to click Dazzling Gleam. We know that my opponent is special attack boosting anyway, so I'm not really too concerned about the potential for my opponent to KO my Fluttermane. Essentially, they're either going to KO it anyway, or they weren't going to KO it anyway, and the Sun Boost won't make a difference. However, I'm more so hoping for this to benefit in the long term. And also, the Torkoal in general is just really good here. They're actually going to proceed to KO. Ooh, okay, that's not good. Okay, that's not good at all. Well, I still have the Ice Spinner from my opponent's Dragonite, and I guess it's going to come down to if I outpace them or not. Oh, actually, right. Okay. So I think I do just lose this game, actually. I'm going to go for Protect just in case. But I'm pretty certain that I just lose because my opponent can essentially just guarantee kill me right now with both my Pokemon by going for the Shadow Ball into my Torkoal and going for the Ice Spinner into my Dragonite. Or even just E-Speed probably picks me off. However, just in case, I'm going to proceed to go for the Eruption here. Now again, I'm pretty sure both my Pokemon will die here. But I'm playing to the out of my opponent choking and dual targeting Dragonite. They're going to E-Speed Torkoal, so they actually went for the dual target and Torkoal here. Oh, never mind. Okay. So I kind of need to hope that my opponent will just choke one of my options away. Thankfully, we've also broken multi-scale. Ooh, okay, that's gonna suck actually. We're gonna go for the E-Speed here into Dragonite, and I'm gonna go for a Flamethrower. No, I'm gonna go for an Eruption again. Again, I don't think I really have an out outside of like a double or triple Protect, but I do still kind of need to play to it. E-Speed's gonna go off. That does some okay damage actually. Moonblast will go off, and that's gonna kill Dragonite. Torkoal just drops E-Speed though. Essentially, I cannot win this game at all. I'll give my opponent the last turn though, just because, I mean, I'm not really upset. They played it well, and obviously, you know, I prefer the game to finish out. But they have definitely clinched this win though. They'll just kill me on this turn with E-Speed, and that's definitely game. Their team in general was really well structured actually, and I think that I just got outplayed, to be honest. I think if I went for Headlong Rush into the Flutter Mane instead, I think I could have maybe benefited from that, because Cerulege wasn't really a big threat to my team, actually. It didn't really break my team that well. Really, the only exception would have been Dragonite, but Dragonite was still actually pretty easy to muscle, and I could have maybe won the game off of other Pokemon. But if I Headlong Rushed into the... Actually, no, because I would have lost Tusk anyway. But Tusk wasn't that important. If I just went for Headlong Rush and lost Tusk, that actually probably worked out even better for me, because I could have brought in Fluttermane at that point and then bullied the... No, never mind. I think I might have just lost this anyway by tiring Fluttermane. That might have been the real play I lost, because... Though I don't really know how I won this game. Maybe I just needed a better lead. Maybe just leading off with Tusk was the better lead, in all honesty. I'm not really too sure. But regardless, though, we're 1-1 for the day. We still have one more game going into this one. Maybe two if this is a really quick one. But I'll see you guys in game number 3, though. Okay, so moving on to our final game of the day. We're taking on a team consisting of Bruxish, Skeledirge, Oranguru, Brute Bonnet, Sylveon, and Iron Hands. Okay, so I'm 100% going to lead off with the Fluttermane and the Torkoal here. This is essentially a good one-hit KO machine on everything that they have. The worst lead for me actually would probably be the Skeledirge and Iron Hands combination. That actually would be a huge problem for me, because Iron Hands can already terrestrial around a lot of my Specs Fluttermane hits anyway, and on top of that as well, actually, so I think that there might be benefit in lead off with Skeledirge, not Skeledirge, the Great Tusk and Fluttermane here. However, I think there's one issue with that, being Iron Hands leading, which I'm still fine with that. I think I'm going to lead off with this. I'm going to bring Great Tusk in the back for sure. And then I think the final mon will be King Gambit. My King Gambit shouldn't have a huge problem with this matchup, in all honesty. It should sponge hits really well anyway. My play will definitely be to go for the Tera Fire on King Gambit, because King Gambit in general should be a really decent offensive piece, and by resisting stuff such as the Skeledirge, for example, I could make this into a really decent offensive win con. Their Skeledirge is probably going to be either Tera Grass or Tera Fairy, which is really good for my King Gambit, actually. Especially by resisting Torch Song, which is its primary method of setup. They're going to go for Bruxish and the Iron Hands here. Okay. So they're probably trying to deny priority, which is fine. My team really only has Dragonite with priority, so I'm okay with that. I'm going to proceed to go for a Moonblast straight into the Iron Hands. And then I think I'm also going to go for... Actually, no. Yeah, I'm going to go for Moonblast and the Iron Hands. And then I'm going to proceed to click Protect here. If my opponent goes for Terrestrial Steel, that's fine. I don't really mind that, in all honesty. I'm going to assume they're going to try and get around my Fake Out, though. Not my Fake Out, my Eruption. Nope, they're just going to let the Iron Hands drop here. Perfect. Well, I'm okay with that. Iron Hands trading is huge. That was a really decent threat, especially with Terra Steel if it had it. They're going to go for Wave Crash. Okay, they're trying to Wave Crash my Torkoal. That's fine, actually. I'm assuming that they're going to probably bring in the Bonnet here if it's Terra, or, yep, Skeledirge comes in as well. Okay. So this isn't really too big of a deal. However, I do essentially need to switch out here. The question is in what? Actually, I don't even need to switch out. I can just target the Bruxish here and be fine, and then I'll go for Earth Power into the Skeletors. And that should also be fine. Bruxish should guarantee die. The Skeletors we can reveal Tera on before going into King Gambit, which will be huge because we know what to attack with. They're going to proceed to Terrastal into Dark. Okay. So, kind of wishing I just Moonblasted, I'm going to be honest. The Tera was obvious, though it could have also Terra'd into something like Fire to boost Torch Song, technically. Especially if it was a lazy player who didn't really care to change their Tera type. They're going to be Focus Sash on the Bruxish. That's a little bit scary, but it's not too big of a deal. Special attack drop doesn't matter at all. They'll Wave Crash. They'll take themselves out at least, and the fact that we went for Earth Power helps me a little bit because I'm not health dependent on this. Now, they're still pretty threatening with that Skeletors, actually, and the fact that they could just Shadow Ball, that will probably take out my Flutter Mane, or at least guarantee to a KO. Yep, guarantee to a KO for sure. Earth Power will probably do like 30. No, that's actually a little bit better than I thought in terms of how well it took it. Okay. So, they're going to bring an Oranguru. So they have to be clicking Trick Room here. I feel like they have to click Trick Room here. And then they're going to try and bank off of winning. Well, no. They actually don't have a great way to win this. I'm going to kill the Skeletors here with Moonblast. And then I'm just going to go for Flamethrower into Oranguru. They can't really win this game at all, actually. They might just go for Protect, which I'm fine with that. But Oranguru's still going to take enough to where I could probably just Eruption next turn into Moonblast in the Oranguru spot and be fine. Even if they do get around that, I still probably just massacre their team with, okay, that hurts them a little bit, but truthfully, I'm still a 2 KO always, so I'm fine with this. Okay. I think if anything, all it gives me is just a turn to go for Eruption, get a little more chip on Skeletors, and maybe even just take it out. But even still, I want to assume that I took that hit anyway, or that I KO'd them anyway with the Flamethrower next turn, and that's really all that I cared about, is making sure that Skeletors can get 2 attacks off. Because even if my opponent ends up going for a Shadow Ball into my Flutter Mane, I should always still pick this mana off anyway in the following turn with Torkoal. So I'm actually still fine with this, guaranteed. I think I always won this, and that opens up a game 4 actually, because we'll win this in like another minute or so. So I'll take that. I'll bring in Great Tusk just because I think it's funnier. But yeah, we always do win this game. And Torkoal just clicks Flamethrower into this Skeletors, and we always just win this. Great Tusk, I'll click Headlong just to click it, but it should never actually matter. Actually, I'll click Earthquake just to click it because I think it's funnier. And then we'll go for Flamethrower here because that should pick it off. Battle's canceled. Perfect. Okay. So with that said, let's get into game number 4 though. We're going to try and see if we can go 3-1. Okay, so getting to our final game of the day, we're taking on a team consisting of Annihilate, Mousehold, Gyarados, Rotom, Heat, Grimmsnarl, and Dragonite. Alright. So this team is extremely weak to Flutter Mane. However, the Rotom Heat actually will be kind of an issue for our build. Specifically, if they don't Terrastal it, actually, that's probably going to be one of the best checks for our team overall. It'll dictate positioning a lot for myself, such as going for the Power Gem into the Rotom. I'm definitely going to lead off with the... So I kind of want to lead off with Flutter Mane and Torkoal. Not Flutter Mane and Torkoal, Lilligant and Torkoal, because I can potentially Sleep Powder annoying support mons. Then I could bring Flutter Mane in the back as a cleaner, and then I think the final mon will probably be... I think it's probably going to be Great Tusk, though honestly all 3 of these have a lot of merit. The King Gambit's great as a general cleaner here, and I can Tera Fire actually is a good check to Rotom. Now that I say that out loud, actually I kind of want to, but Rock Slide, Great Tusk is kind of speaking to me as well. I think a Dragonite is definitely my least good option here, but it is still decent for priority as well as Ice Spinning the Dragonite. I think that ultimately I'm going to bring King Gambit. I think King Gambit might offer the most, but essentially I do need to commit to Terraing that, which I'm fine with. I don't really need Tera on Torkoal in all honesty. Their team takes way too much damage from Eruption anyway, besides Dragonite and the Rotom Heat. Even the Gyarados will probably take like half. I think Rotom will probably take about like 30 to 40, and Dragonite will probably take about like 20% the first turn because this screams multi-scale Dragonite on this team. Especially with the fact they have Screens Grim. They're going to go with Gyarados and the Grimmsnarl lead. Okay, this is fine. Alright. So, as far as my lead goes, I kind of want to just go for Eruption turn 1 with the, I know they're going to Light Screen, but I'm going to go for Eruption and After You. I could also just go for Sleep Powder, actually. I do have the turn to do so. So I think I'm going to Sleep Powder the Grimmsnarl, get rid of the support at least for later on. Actually, no, I'm going to Sleep Powder the Gyarados. No, I'm going to Sleep Powder Grim. This should help in case if it's Taunt. I think they'll prioritize the Light Screen first and then go for Taunt after. But They might also go for Fake Out, which would be kind of annoying. I don't really think I need to burn a Tera just to get around that, though, because truthfully, if they're that dedicated to killing Lilligant, then I still have Fluttermane in the back to massacre them anyway. So I think I'm okay with that. I do want to make sure, though, that I can taunt the Grimmsnarl, as making sure that it doesn't have priority later on, or the ability to use statuses later on will be huge. This will open up the ability to stop it from going for stuff like Parting Shot, which is good. Let's see, so protecting Gyarados, that's fine. Grimmsnarl is going to go for, what's it going to go for? They're going to go for Taunt, okay. Taunt's a little annoying, but it's not the end of the world here. Essentially what I need to do now is I need to switch out the Lilligant here. Actually, no, I need to switch out the Torkoal. I need to switch out both Mons, truthfully. But I can't really afford to do that. So what I'm going to proceed to do, I'm going to go for the Leaf Storm into Gyarados, and I'm going to switch out the Torkoal into Kingambit here. I think there's a good chance that my opponent actually ends up going for something like what? What would they actually go for here? I think that they would probably end up going for, well, one, they're going to probably go for like Waterfall into Torkoal, but they might also pair that with a Spirit Break just to drop special attack, since I doubt that they KO. They're going to go for Light Screen, that's fine. Okay. Light Screen goes off. Leaf Storm should do some okay damage to Gyarados. Oh, okay. Well, that crit actually helps a ton. That crit really does matter a lot. But this Waterfall should be chewed anyway, thankfully, by Kingambit. I can go for the Sucker Punch in the following turn, and that should be enough to KO it. I'm going to proceed to switch out into the... I'm going to switch out into the Fluttermane here. I think that they're going to most likely go for a Waterfall again. And I can Sucker Punch kill the Gyarados. Meanwhile, I think that the Grimmsnarl is going to go for a Reflect here, just to try and help take the damage a little bit easier with their team. Thankfully, they can't actually threaten my Kingambit at all with Grim, which is huge. So I can essentially just leave Grimmsnarl on the field and target the other slot for eternity, because Kingambit is definitely my win con here. It's such a good mon offensively against their team. Great for picking off the Gyarados at this point, which is nearly fodder. The Dragonite probably doesn't have coverage for me unless it's low kick. And on top of that as well, really their only way of breaking me is Annihilate, which I can just go for Tera Fire and start shooting hits against. Not only that, but Tera Fire with the Sun Boost will do a ton of damage against their team. So I'm going to definitely take pride in that. They should be finished here. Let's see. So they're going to withdraw Gyarados. That's fine. I'm curious what they'll bring in. But whatever they bring in should be fodder. They're going to proceed to bring in the Dragonite. Okay, Dragonite is a little bit scary, but I'm not too concerned with this. They're going to Thunder Wave. Okay. Alright, that's fine, actually. We're going to proceed to go for a Dazzling Gleam here, plus a Kowtow Cleave, as I am anticipating I'm anticipating either E-Speed here, predicting that I'm going to go for Tera Fairy, or if not E-Speed, I mean, even if they don't go for E-Speed, I think my play is always just Kowtow. And then I'm going to go for Kowtow into Dragonite. This should do some good damage overall. They don't really have great switch-ins to this. I don't need to Terrestrial just yet. Even if they have low kick, I don't really have a reason to burn the Tera at the moment, as... Actually, why didn't I burn the Tera? I think Tera might have helped me overall. They don't... Well, no. Having the resistance to E-Speed is actually pretty valuable. That's a huge benefit. Because this is probably E-Speed, Ice Spinner, Tera Blast, and Filler. They're going to switch out Grimmsnarl here, and they're going to have Final Mon be... what's his Final Mon? Is this Gyarados? Gyarados, okay. I'm fine with this, actually, because it's just going to boost Kingambit's damage. I'm not at all sure why they made that play, but it helps me out so much with breaking through that Dragonite. Essentially, what's going to happen here is they're going to go for Earthquake, okay. So it didn't really matter if I Terra'd or not. This was always just going to be a kind of okay damage point, thankfully. My Gleam is going to pick off the Gyarados, and it's going to break Multiscale and Dragonite if it has it. I'm going to assume with how well it took that, it is Multiscale. But I'm perfectly okay with that, because this Dragonite, despite being Weakness Policy, is still going to take a ton of damage from my Kingambit here. They have also not run for a Reflect yet, so this Dragonite should actually just be finished here. This Kowtow Cleave will absolutely massacre them. Beautiful. So Dragonite is cleared, as well as Gyarados. I might not even need to Tera Kingambit, actually, funny enough. Unless they bring Rotom here, I don't have a reason to. But if they bring Rotom here, they probably just go for Discharge anyway, I feel like. They're going to bring out definitely the Grimmsnarl, but what else? Annihilate, okay. So I do think I actually want to go for Tera here. Not that I really need to, but it is kind of valuable just to keep this mon alive. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to proceed to go for Dazzling Gleam, and I'm going to proceed to go for a Sucker Punch. This should account for any outs that this wants to go for. I'm going to Tera Fire boost my my Torkoal later on, just to boost the damage output, and I'm going to go for single target Flamethrower, as I'm going to assume that my opponent will go for Taunt into Lilligant. So I'm going to actually dual target with attacks into Annihilate later on. This Sucker Punch should account for the fact in case they try and go for the KO on me, and it should help damaging whichever slot they target into. I don't mind boosting Rage Fists in all honesty. I still have a Focus Sash on my Lilligant, which is great because it means 2 Leaf Storms are guaranteed here. They're going for Thunder Wave here, and beautiful, the fact that I didn't Tera actually benefits me a lot now, because I can't even go for the Prankster Tera. Now, there was actually merit to going for that for what it's worth, as I could have gotten out a Drain Punch, so I can get my opponent's play actually, and assuming I'd go for Tera Flying there, I think it makes a lot of sense. They're going to Rage Fist boosted hit my Flutter Mane, and they do actually outpace me, which is good to know. But this was kind of obvious. Essentially, they would need to be like a very min-speed Annihilate to even not outpace Flutter Mane on paper. But the fact that we're modest means they only have more of a reason to outpace me. We're going to bring in the Lilligant here. Despite the fact that we don't have the Sun Up, we should still have worse speed tie with them, which is huge. And even still, I could just go for a Leaf Storm plus a Sucker Punch and KO my opponent here, which is huge. They might just go for a Protect, but I'm fine with that. Their Grimmsnarl can't really actually threaten my Kingambit at all, so I always just make this play. They might go for Bulk Ups here, but I'm still getting the Leaf Storm damage off guaranteed, which is beneficial. I think they'll probably just go for Taunt here, which I'm okay with that. Even if they go for even if they go for a Thunder Wave here, I'm not concerned with that, because Lilligant doesn't mind being paralyzed at this point in the game. Because really what I just value is just getting the damage off an Annihilate. It's obviously going to be a threat, but it's not a threat that I can't really work around. And the Grimmsnarl is kind of just fodder against my team, to be honest. It needs to bank off of Paras, it needs to bank off of as well the Kingambit dying, which neither of those seem to be actually likely to happen. They can't paralyze me either, which is huge. They're actually going to go for Misty Terrain as the final move. So they don't have Reflect, and on top of this as well, they don't have a damaging move, which means I never actually need to target this mon, because it can never actually endgame against me. And they're going to proceed to go for a Bulk Up here, if I'm going to have to guess. I can't really see another reason why they wouldn't just to target me immediately. But by going for Bulk Up, I still actually should always beat this thing with Leaf Storm plus Sucker Punch. In fact, I think that I always just KO this on the next turn with Leaf Storm plus Sucker Punch anyway. Because they'll either KO my Kingambit after I've already attacked, or they're going to proceed to just go for a... like a... Well, they might go for a Drain Punch, which would be the worst thing they can go for, I guess, for me. But even still, if I win a Speed Tie, I always beat this anyway. They can't go for Thunder Wave into Lilligant anymore, which is huge. They can still taunt us, though, which is kind of a threat. They're going to go for Protect on Annihilate, but that's fine. So they're Bulk Up, Protect, Rage Fist, and Filler. They can't Thunder Wave me. I don't know why they made that play. So my opponent might have just been stupid when trying to Thunder Wave my Kingambit. I'm not sure. But this is still okay, actually. They might go for Taunt still into Lilligant. I think they should go for Taunt into Lilligant still. So I'm not going to go for any support moves. I think that if anything, my best play is always still just to make this sequence of Sucker Punch and Leaf Storm. Because eventually either I just crit a Leaf Storm or I just get a Sucker Punch off when they're about to die. They might go for Drain Punch, sure, but I should always be fine actually at making this sequence of attacks. Because the more that they go for Bulk Up, the more damage I get off with Leaf Storm anyway. And it's essentially always a bad endgame for them, where they can never truly win this. Now, they are going to get off a lot of damage when they do attack, but it shouldn't matter because I don't think they ever land an attack. Which is kind of the flaw with the way that they have their Grimmsnarl set up. Because they've essentially opened up to where they can never win this. Now, I'm assuming this is Tera Fire to get out of taking as much damage from Leaf Storm. Which would probably be the best thing they could go for here. Yep, Tera Fire, okay. So this might be an issue, but it's not really a huge one that I'm caring about. Thankfully though, even if they're going to go for Taunt here, they're going to go for Taunt and Kingambit. Why do they target the Kingambit here? I genuinely don't know. They're going to still take Leaf Storm damage anyway because they're failing to attack, which works out well for me, even with the fact that Leaf Storm is doing negligible damage here. Eventually, I do just get the KO, which is huge for me. They're going to Bulk Up yet again. Perfectly okay with this. I'm curious if they're just timing themselves out at this point, and that's why their turns are taking so long. Though at the same time, I don't know why the Terrestrial Fire would have been auto-clicked for them. Maybe it's because it's the last turn, I'm not sure. But I should always win this game. I feel like that they can't win this, right? Sucker Punch should officially do too much damage. I would be genuinely shocked if we actually didn't KO at this point. Because they can't drop my physical attack. They can't even really actually break me. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they can even do here. I don't know. Again, I feel like they just have no out to this. But I'm almost confused as to what's going on here. But they can't actually break me. They're going to still go for Taunt yet again. I think that they are just getting timed out here. Sucker Punch will go off. Yep, okay, so that just KOs. Perfectly fine. And then, yeah, we just go for Iron Head into Grimmsnarl plus Leaf Storm, and we all just win. Because it can't actually stop me from doing anything here. Thankfully, though, this Gambit's doing a ton of damage. The Lilligant also put up a lot of pressure, thankfully, against my opponent by threatening the fact that I could have went for Sleep Powders. Though, I'm going to be honest, I think I could have brought any 4 months. My opponent didn't exactly play that well. But yeah, we'll definitely take it, though. Battle's canceled. Perfect. Okay, I don't need to stall through any longer. If you guys enjoyed this, of course, and you want to see some more like this, leave a like and subscribe. Shout out to the channel members being Josh K, Ultra Player, Mia, Zeke Zero, Matt O'Shea, B-Bat, Anna Dupur, and Timo Mueller. Your guys' support on the channel is greatly appreciated. And we have a members video going up tonight at 7 p.m. EST for anyone interested, as well as other content in the next week. We have a poll right now as well for that future members video. So if you are interested in voting on the members content you'll see on the channel, of course, now is a better time than any to make sure you get your voice heard. But with that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow with a tier list video where I think tomorrow's some fighting. I'm not sure. It's whatever's next in the alphabet after Fairy. But we'll see you guys then. Peace out, guys.